here, we're gonna have a great time doing it. So we're gonna wait for our
gauge. I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high.
Alrighty, here we go. Yeah, I didn't really finish the other day with installing the inner fender liners. I came across another problem, which a few of the threads were stripped, and these are threads on nuts that are actually welded on the inner fender liner. And of course, what's the one tap I don't have that size, which is an 8mm by 125, which is so funny to me that everything is metric. On an American-made car. Go figure that. So anywho, let's go ahead and move forward. The inner fender liners are installed after they've been painted, and of course the backing plates have been riveted on. And this is just a little catch-up real quick. Of course, Defiant is backed in this time. I just got home from work a little while ago. Excuse me a second. I just got home a little while ago, and of course it's the end of the day, and you can tell by the light behind me that the sun is starting to come down. Oh, excuse me. It's so dry here in Nevada. So anyway, I got a little bit of time left. I'm going to try and beat that sun, and we're going to do our best to get those fenders installed. But first, we need to press in those rev nuts. And as I mentioned in a previous video, we're going to be using this rev nut installing tool. It is a whole lot easier and faster than using a bolt, some washers, and some nuts. A lot more expensive than just using those pieces of hardware, but a lot more efficient, that's for sure. So let me go ahead and grab my rev nuts. We're going to go ahead and press one or two on. I'm going to show you how it's done, and then we're going to move forward. And just so you know that the mandrel for those rev nuts have already been changed. This is ready to go. So this is as simple as expanding the arms, threading the rev nut in this on this stud all the way as far as it'll go, place it, apply some tension on the mounting surface, and squeeze as you're still pushing in. This way everything still maintains tight. There is no loose or protrusion that shouldn't have to be there, and everything should be a perfect fit. So that is definitely the plan. But right now, let's take a look at something super important. We were taking a look at the instructions again from Oedro. Now I want to be 100% sure where we're going to put these rev nuts, because once they're in is like super hard to get out. I'm not going to say impossible, but it is real difficult. So what we're going to do is I am going to take one of the rears and line it up with the holes where all the rev nuts are supposed to be, and then I'm going to do the same for one of the fronts. Line it up where all the rev nuts are supposed to be, to make sure I put all the nuts in the correct location. Just allow me a second. Let me grab this. I am going to get that done, and then we're going to get started. Alrighty, I'm actually very thankful that I went ahead and I checked the fitment of the fender, and everything's working out exactly the way I had hypothesized. Now I know you can't see it from this angle here, but you have a total of these 10 holes for the perimeter, or the outside perimeter of the fender. We're going to use the 4 on the right, the 4 on the left. That's 8, and then you got the 2 top center ones we're going to leave alone, because these are the bolts that are retaining the top of this inner fender liner. So we're going to use these bolts to retain or sandwich the fender in between here, keep it all intact. And we're going to do the same for the front, where there is that one, I don't know what the diameter is of that bolt. It could be a 12mm, but the head's a 13mm. So that's why I'm calling it a 13mm. That one bolt is going to take the place of one of those rev nuts up front, and we're still gonna make everything work. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna keep my tool fully expanded. I got a rub nut right here, and with the appropriate mandrel, that is in. You can see that the arms are not. Oh, well, how did that work out? Gotta make sure. Yeah, it feels pretty tight anyways. So let's give this a go. Let me give you a good shot right here. So if I pass or fail, at least you'll witness it. This is gonna be fun. Alrighty, so this is where we're gonna start. We are at the driver rear. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's what we're gonna do. Let's take our first one here. We're gonna go ahead and present it to the hole. Oh, you're crapping me, it doesn't even fit in the hole. And that's what they sent. Son of a gun. There it is, it's tight, it's a tight fit. All right, so now we're gonna keep it all flush. And let me see, and I have no way of feeling it. So let me go ahead and back out the mandrel. And it feels pretty good. It doesn't jiggle or anything. That is awesome. Now this is something that you want to go ahead and take your time. You want to be precise about it. You don't want to rush. You don't want to be hasty. This is one of those PNR points. PNR is point of no return. And once it's in, it's in. Like I said, it's like super hard to get these things out. So make sure that they are in the locations that you want. And it is a very specific fit on this because it is a little bit of a jiggle to get it in the hole, which is a good sign. So let's go ahead and do this once more. And we back it out. Right on, that is perfect. I wish I could feel it from the inside. Yeah, I don't know a way of getting myself back there, but this is perfect. All right, let me go ahead and knock out the other 6 here, and then we're gonna go to the front. Alrighty, so if you have witnessed, it's actually not a hard job. It's just fit and press and repeat. And if you notice that there's a couple of them that actually crimp twice, which is okay, it's not bad. If you happen to exit the first time and it's still got a little loose or jiggle on it, it's okay to go back in and give it a whine and give it a crimp a second time, and you'll be okay. As I checked them out, everything's very stable, so we're to go. So let's go ahead and finish off the front over here, and we get, I think there's like 9 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so we got 8 on the front right here. So let me go ahead and get these installed, and we'll knock it out as fast as we can. All right, so just with the rear, we're going to start with the lowest one first, but in this case, we are going to start up front. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just wanted to double check and double count to make sure that we're on the right path. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and install all these rev nuts. Alrighty, so far so good. We got the driver's side front and rear rev nuts all installed. We got 8 in the front, 6 in the back, that's 14. I got another 14 to go for the passenger side. Let me knock that out real quick. I'm not gonna bore you with the whole watching me do it, even though I do time lapse it and make it all speed up and all that good stuff. Let's just skip that part. Let me bolt it on, give me a second, and then we're gonna start to bolt on the fenders. Alrighty, so now we are like totally caught up with the revenant situation. Let me just give you a quick overview of how they came out. Alright, so you can actually see that the sun has gone down and we're losing a lot of light over here. Let's see if we can take a look at some of these here. Yeah, starting from down here, they're all looking pretty good. And I checked and double checked all of them that there is no jiggle. They're on there very secure. Let's take a look at the front one that I had done earlier. We're going to start from the front of the fender. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's all looking good. Let's walk to the other front super quick. Let's take a look at these. All right. And all the rev nuts are in the appropriate location where they're supposed to be, minus the adjustment that I made for the bolts for the inner fender liners. So those are all looking very sharp. This is actually not a bad light for me recording on my phone at for as dark as it is. Alrighty, since you can't tell it's actually pretty dark, I am going to go ahead and pack it in. Now there is a lot more information I do want to share with you, but that is going to be tomorrow when I install the fenders, because I want to show you a few things I'm going to do. And it's nothing spectacular, but there are some features about the fenders and the mounting fixture. I'm going to just talk about that real quick. I need to prepare all the bolts, the washers, and it's not just bolts and washers. There's also spring washer, or what they call lock washers. So it's going to be a 3-piece per setup, and I got so many of those to set up. We're going to get all that business done. We'll get everything installed tomorrow, and this project will finally be finished. But thanks for hanging in there. Oh my God, what a journey, but it's been fantastic. All right, I'll see you in a moment. Alrighty, here we go again. Today is December 15th, yet another day in this fantastic project that I've been having so much fun with. A little too much fun, it's been taking too long. Considering since I'm trying to get this done on my own time, of course, after work, and as I mentioned before, my very demanding schedule. But we're gonna get this done. Okay, so we're just gonna recap for a second here. We went ahead and removed the bushwhackers and the fender liners. We took apart the fender liners and drilled out the rivets for the backing plates for the stencil. Everything got repainted to the respective colors. The fender liners are back installed. Rivet nuts have been pressed in. We are now ready to install those fenders. And this is actually going to be the straight up easy part. This is going to probably be the last section of this video. Everything's been rivet nutted in, this and that. I got all my nuts, bolts, washers, everything's ready to go. I got the appropriate tool. Son of a gun, I forgot my tool. I got to run back upstairs and get it because I was charging the battery on my screwdriver. But I do have the 13mm ratchet wrench and a 13mm socket over there. So yeah, let me just go get my screwdriver and then we'll get this party started. Okay, so I am back, and I'm gonna try and beat the clock over here. As you can see, the sun's starting to go down. Yeah, it doesn't stay light very much this time of year because of the standard daylight time. So we're going to we're ready to go ahead and get the fenders installed. Now everything is pretty much straightforward. We're just gonna go ahead and line up the holes, put the screws in it, and tighten it down. Let me talk about the front fender for a second. Of course, the Oedro skinny little flat fender. But the thing is, if you may notice that there is a bracket on the fender itself that sticks out, and most people either cut it off or drill out the rivet or whatever's there, or if it's a weld, of course, they'll just try and shank it off. I'm keeping them on there for a reason. This has been, what, 5 years since I changed fenders, and who knows, I may be keeping these for another 5 years. I may change my mind and go to another design. So I'm thinking right now it's a good idea just to hang on to those in case I need those for the future. It'll save me some time from having to relocate them and try and rivet them or bolt them back in, whatever it was. And what's nice is that the Oedro fender has a provision right here that makes a space for that bracket. So they actually thought ahead when they designed this. So let's go ahead and get our gear in motion. We're going to start on the passenger side. We're going to do the front, then we're going to do the rear. Considering the amount of space I got over here, I'm gonna move the Jeep a little bit more closer to that lava rock, so I have more space on the driver's side. Then we'll do the driver's side. But let me go ahead and get put this down. We're gonna relocate this camera, and then we're gonna get started. Alrighty, let's go. Alrighty, so I've taken the liberty of getting myself all prepared over here. I brought my tools over. I got the screws and washers here. Put the fender right there for right now. First thing is first, always protect your hands and your eyes. So I'm going to put on a pair of gloves. Now these aren't necessarily protective kind of gloves, but it's enough to keep my hands from getting dirty. This is not that dangerous of a job. So let's go ahead and get our gloves on. We're actually good to go at this point. Now, for the most part, I'm going to use my electric screwdriver to screw in the fasteners in their respective locations. What I am going to use is this Allen wrench. When I'm done, just to make sure it doesn't need an extra snug. If it does, I will hand wrench it because you know your electric power tools can only do so much. And it is a very small screwdriver with a very small battery. It does not put out a lot. So we're not going to depend on it being the torquiest tool in the box. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start matching up the holes, putting some fasteners in. Alrighty, so just like how we did with the front, we're going to go ahead and remove these two bolts. There's only one in the front, but there's two in the rear. Now, I'm sure you noticed that I had a little struggle with that one bolt in the front, and considering the thickness of the metal, the flex of the other metal versus this one, they're kind of opposing, really tight to get into. I'm just going to pick up new bolts. I'm going to go ahead and finish installing the fenders here, and the 2 to possibly 6 bolts that are different. These, more than likely I'm going to replace them. So I'll just, well, I'm going to the hardware store tomorrow, but at least tonight this part will be done. And even though the rears will be sustained by these other 8, and the front by by their other 8, it'll be secure enough for one evening before I get to the hardware store in the morning. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and take these 2 out. Let's put on this fender. And if these 2 do not go back in, looks like we're going to be replacing those bolts as well. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, the passenger side is actually officially done, minus that one bolt. The 2 in the rear seem to have gone on pretty good without an issue. I'm crossing my fingers that this happens the same for the other side in the rear. As far as the one in the front, I'm not giving up hope. I'm probably gonna put a C-clamp on there to try and hold everything together in the same lined up hole while I try and thread that one bolt for the front. But right now it's got plenty of bolts holding everything in place. Let's go ahead and move to the driver's side. I'm gonna move Defiant a little bit more to the right so that I can go ahead and have more working space over here on this side, because I'm actually in between my Jeep and my neighbor's vehicle. So I'm gonna make a little bit more space to get everything done. And let's go ahead and finish out this project. Alrighty, now that you can tell that the Defiant has been moved by the different angle of this this shot right here, and you can see that I got plenty of space between Defiant and my neighbor's vehicle. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and bring out the two fenders, get them ready. I still have my bolts and my washers ready, and of course my tools are ready. Let's go ahead and finish this project. All we're going to do is bolt it on super quick. We want to get the fenders on and be done with it. If I have a problem with those bigger bolts, the ones with a 13mm head, I'll address them, like I said, tomorrow if I have to go to a hardware store and replace the bolts. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Alrighty, considering how dark it is, we're going to get this done as best we can. So just like the other side, we're going to go ahead and remove these two bolts. We're going to apply the 8 that belong here around the rest of the perimeter, and we're going to cross our fingers that these two go in as smoothly as the ones that did on the other side. Alrighty, after they're installed, I got the front and rears on, and you can see that the fenders are much more narrower than the Bushwacker Flat Fenders. Give you an idea. You know, that's how narrow they are, and they do expose the majority of the tire from that angle. If you're looking at it straight, oh yeah, it still exposes all the tire. Now, going back to that one bracket, you can see it down here. This is the one that I refused to remove because I could have gone under here and wherever it's bolted and cut it out or drilled it out, whatever the case is. I decided to keep it, as I mentioned earlier, for future use, in case I decide to change these fenders again sometime in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't know. And you can actually see, even though it's exposed right here, because you can see it because of the body color, but if you look at it straight on, it's not poking out. It is pretty much right there. It does have, I don't know, I'm gonna say about 1/8 of an inch where it's actually fully covered, so it doesn't even poke out at all. And let's take a look at the rear real quick. And just the same, a little bit more narrow than the Bushwackers, does expose a lot of tire. You know, everything's looking good. Alrighty folks, and there you have it, 4 Oedro very narrow flat fenders, steel, installed. Now I know I took my time on this, it took me a few days and realistic time. It's been about 2 weeks since I started this project, you know, doing a little here, a little there. I This is really a super simple job, something that shouldn't take you more than an hour to do, especially if your time management is correct, you're prepared with all the proper tools, all your fasteners are in order, and of course your other supplies. Really shouldn't take you about an hour, maybe two if you're getting started. Want to be super careful. Me, I took a little extra long because you've seen when I did. I took my time to disassemble everything, get everything repainted. Of course, even the wait time for giving it 2 coats of paint, and of course just trying to be a little meticulous and anal about it. And it took me this long, but I had fun doing it. You know, I hope that you had fun watching the experience. But yes, in realistic time, you can do it in 1 hour, maybe 2 if you want to be a little bit more careful. But you know, it shouldn't take you this long. I was just playing with it or toying with this whole little venture. Now tomorrow morning I got another project already lined up, and this one is going to take me the whole weekend, I think. So I needed to finish this as fast as possible. But yeah, it's all good to go. Everything's straight on my end, and I'm really happy that this is done. Even though I've driven around for 2 weeks with no fenders, and these little narrow ones kind of give you that idea of no fenders, but I still like the idea of having some kind of fender on there, even though it looks like the small little, I don't know what you want to call that, little wing type flat fender like you see on an ATV. Makes it look very sporty. I guess that's what it is, but it does expose more tire, and I kind of like that. But I really hope you found this video educational and entertaining. I know it was a 3-part series, and I'm glad that you hung in there and watched it and shared this experience with me, because I was happy to share it with you. Don't forget to join us at www.desertwranglers.club. You know, we get members all the time, and we're on the trail. We do about 140 rides a year, which is phenomenal compared to other clubs. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Click that little bell, and of course, you know, join us on all the social platforms. And of course, join us at www.defiantjeep.com, where you can find all of your Jeep performance accessories, camping gear, and other merch. We love to see you on the trail.